Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech It Out. This is episode 217. Hope you're having a great mid-October weekend so far, and the weather is holding up nicely wherever you happen to be. You know, it's kind of fun to have a nationally syndicated radio show, so it is a bit odd to talk in generalizations because I don't know what the weather is like where you are, but I do love hearing from Americans all across the country, so I know you're all spread out. Thank you for tuning into the program. You may be listening to this in podcast form as well, which is super cool. And don't forget to leave a review and tell a friend if that's the case. Hey, we're going to kick things off in a moment with ASUS to hear about laptops designed for content creators. ESET will stop by this hour to chat about Cybersecurity Awareness Month and how to protect yourself. Learn all about tech for seniors and how it can help your loved ones live longer independently when we chat with a company based out of Boca Raton, Florida. And much more on a brand new episode of Tech It Out, powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. And as I mentioned, they're also my first guest on the show to chat laptops, so let's officially kick things off. If you think there hasn't been a lot of innovation when it comes to laptops, you're going to hear otherwise in this next interview. Joining us to chat about ASUS and its bleeding-edge laptops for work and play is Bruce Sadat. He's product manager for consumer laptops in North America. Welcome to the show, Bruce. Good to chat with you.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Before we talk about your innovations for those in the creator space, including OLED displays, which I want to chat with you about, please first tell us a bit about ASUS, the company.
Absolutely. ASUS is a Taiwan-based multi-international computer hardware and consumer electronics company that was established in 1989, basically dedicated to creating products for today's and tomorrow's smart life. ASUS is the number one motherboard and gaming brand, and as well as like top 3 consumer notebook vendor. And we are, as a major player in IT industry, the mission that we have is to provide innovative IT solutions that empower people and businesses to reach their full potential.
Awesome. And going back to your gaming line for a moment, it's branded as ROG or Republic of Gamers, and it is a super hot brand of laptops and desktops and accessories as well. I would argue that ASUS has different laptop divisions, if I'm not mistaken. So before we talk about content creators specifically, let's go through each of these different laptop divisions that ASUS has and tell us who they're for. Why don't we start with the VivoBooks?
As you may know, the laptop market is so big, and we have different laptop production line for each segment of the market to be able to address this big market. We have consumer, commercial, gaming lines, and I'm specifically responsible for consumer product line. And we're looking at around like 25 to 30 million devices being sold in the US alone in consumer side in different price bands. So that's why we need to have different solutions for different tastes in consumer side. Starting from highest price band, we have like Studio Book line, and then we have Zen Book line, and then we have VivoBook line. VivoBook line has been designed for younger generation, such as Generation Z, that are looking for opportunities to express their bold ideas. We have thin and light modern devices under VivoBook line with special design elements that is more appealing for the young generation, and also it comes with more affordable prices that is interesting for young people. Then we have the ZenBook line for millennials and professionals that we can talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, VivoBooks, lots of different colors to choose from, lots of style. They're thin and light. These are like an everyday laptop, if you will, multi-purpose for work or school or play and so on. But let's talk about the creator space. I know that's one that ASUS is very interested in. So what we're referring to here are like graphic designers, musicians, is that right? YouTubers, TikTokers, that kind of thing?
There are different ways of looking at the creator market. The way we look at it is that whoever creates the digital content and somehow is engaged with visual computing can be called the digital creator, or as we call it, content creator. Our goal is to provide the high performance, thin and light laptop that have been optimized for their creation jobs and their specific workflows that they're engaged with. Some examples are like professionals that recently been really trend in young generation, or the first number one desired profession among young youth is to become an influencer. We have around 37 million YouTube channels. There are so many like freelancers as well across the globe. Around 25% of the global workforce is freelancer. Or you can take like big studios that are great examples where around 6 billion frames rendered every year and increasingly large data sets. So currently they are using gaming Outlook designs machined for that need. And we know around 40% of the people buying gaming devices in the world are not going to use it for gaming purposes alone.
That's probably because they want that extra horsepower, right? The graphics performance, the CPU, the engine that drives the performance of the laptop. So smoother multitasking, smoother graphics, but they're interestingly not all using it for gaming. So are we talking here about your ZenBook line, which I would argue is a bit more about innovation and, cutting edge technology?
Well, yeah, to answer your question specifically, your previous question about specifically what we are going after some workflows, specifically 6 major workflows, which are video editing, filmmakers, photographers, live streaming, graphic design, and 3D animation, and architects or visualizers. So these are the workflows that we are going after with different lines of product that we have. We have studio books specifically designed for content creators. We do have ZenBook Pro and ZenBook Pro Duo, and also VivoBook Pro that's been designed for creators. So we're going after each workflows, and we'll introduce different options that we have in our lineup with different features that has been tailored for creators, such as ScreenPad Plus or dial wheel button or the OLED displays.
So let's talk about the OLED displays. Is this similar to the technology built into some of the latest TVs?
Absolutely, yeah. As you know, OLED panel technology has a lot of benefits for customers, and that's why those are very expensive panels, especially on the TV area, mainly because of best-in-class color that they provide, true black for extreme details, and also ultra-fast response time. It also provides low harmful blue light emission, which is also important for kids because their eyes are more sensitive to blue light. So the color reproduction are richer and more vivid, ideal for color-intensive projects, especially for digital creators such as graphic designers. Also, it's more interesting for regular customers that are expecting better color saturation. There are so many other things that is really beneficial on the OLED panels, especially the contrast ratio. The HDR True Black comes with 1:1 million contrast ratio. Pretty amazing.
All right, so if you're at the ASUS.com website, ASUS.com, and you do a search for the word OLED, OLED, then you will find the laptops that have these more advanced panels to them. We are chatting with Bruce Sadat. He is product manager for consumer laptops for ASUS in North America. I would also think, Bruce, that your ScreenPad would be ideal for content creators as well. Can you explain to our listeners what innovation we're talking about here?
Absolutely. ScreenPad is basically the secondary display companion that has been placed above the keyboard, right below the main display on some of the ASUS laptops. We used to have ScreenPad, which was the smaller version of display that was replacing the touchpad actually. Yeah. But then later we developed that technology to become ScreenPad Plus. As naming suggests, it's a larger display right above your keyboard. Actually connects your main display to the secondary display above your keyboard. The idea is to bring the multitasking and improve the productivity on a laptop, and also allows you to enjoy your laptop more by doing more on a single device without compromising on the keyboard, because there are some dual screen solutions out there in the market that they remove the keyboard, but we actually keep the actual physical keyboard, but we're also offering the secondary display on the same thin and light laptop.
All right, so ScreenPad is a secondary display, and you can have some content shared between the two, or you can have different content altogether, right? Like if you want to multitask.
Exactly.
Before we wrap up, Bruce, we should remind listeners that most new ASUS laptops that you buy will be able to update to Windows 11 for free, correct?
That's correct. Most of our existing laptops already qualified for a free upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11.
Awesome. So let's finish off with a summary of the laptops ASUS has that are ideal for the creator community.
Well, as we talked, we do have ASUS ZenBook Pro Duo that comes with ScreenPad Plus. We have 15-inch and 14-inch display options. We have a variety of options on those two devices with Core i9, Core i7 processors from Intel or NVIDIA RTX level graphics, 3080 GPU, for example, for creator community. Our dual line, as I mentioned, comes with ScreenPad Plus, which is a secondary panel, improves productivity. So that's the ZenBook Pro line. We also have StudioBook line that's been designed for creators, extreme performance with thin and light modern chassis. We have AMD and Intel CPU options on it, and we also have RTX 3070, 3080, and 3060 GPU options on ASUS StudioBook 16.
Forgive the geek speak. You were referring to the graphics cards in some of these laptops. Again, very important for video editors, animators, and game designers. So you were referring to the numbers of the NVIDIA line of graphic or GPUs that are integrated in some of your ASUS laptops. All right, Bruce, great to chat with you. Thanks so much. I guess the website is asus.com to learn more about all these products, correct?
Absolutely. They can go to asus.com page to browse different laptops by series or categories. We actually have a section called content creation on asus.com to make it easier for people to search on ASUS webpage.
All right, Bruce, thanks again for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You are listening to Tech It Out. I'm your host, Mark Saltzman. When we return on the program, I'm going to chat about some great tech for the fall for kids, including smart speakers for kids, as well as robotics kits, and some tech for moms and dads as well. So stick with us. We got a lot more Tech It Out coming up on the Radio America Network. We'll be right back.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. All right, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I had a lot of fun last week on TV. I did several television interviews tied to some new tech in the fall that's not just great for kids, but also things that parents will like because it may be teaching them something, which I'm going to get to right now. So about a half dozen different items that I really wanted to share with you. And if you want to see a video, by the way, you can just Google my name, Mark Saltzman, Mark with a C, and Fall Tech, and you'll see some of these if you want to see it visually. So let's start with Toniebox. That's Toniebox. This might be considered a smart speaker for kids that comes in different colors. And then you place these little characters on top, these little figurines called Tonys that unlocks music and stories from popular TV shows and movies, mostly from the Disney franchise. In fact, that's the one that Target has for $129 for a starter set. So you place a different Tony on top, it'll automatically start playing some music for the kids. So for example, Lightning McQueen from Cars will start playing Life is a Highway, which is really great. Or you put on Woody from Toy Story, it'll play You've Got a Friend in Me. But there's a lot more, about half an hour's worth of content. And that includes a narrated version, a shortened, abridged version of the story from that film. So very magical for the kids. Parents will love that it's screen-free fun, of course. And speaking of parents, moms or dads and even grandparents can even record their own stories for the children to hear through their speaker. It's called the My Tonys app, and that's free. You just basically record a story, and then it is assigned to one of those Tonys characters, and the kids can play it in their room. And moms and dads don't have to worry about them having, a personal assistant connected to the internet or anything. It isn't like that, but a great sounding speaker as well. You can sort of smack the side of it. It's really cool material. And when you do that, it skips forward between tracks. You can pinch the ears to turn up and turn down the volume. It's really smart. So again, the Toniebox starter set at Target is $129. Speaking of music, a new online program called the BYJU'S Future School Perform with Music curriculum offers one-on-one video lessons with a music instructor. So it's all done over the internet, perfect for during a pandemic when you may not want an instructor in your home. This teaches kids guitar or piano, kids ages 6 through 18, through this curriculum online with a skilled instructor that you get to know. It's always the same instructor with every lesson, by the way, and will not only teach kids to master an instrument, but will build confidence as well because it's a performance-based curriculum. They encourage you to perform, even if it's in front of family and the instructor watches on, and I think it's fantastic. There's 3 different course levels to choose from. BYJU'S Future School, by the way, has a math and coding program already, but they added Perform with Music this summer. It's free to get going. No instrument is needed for that. After that, it's as low as $24 an hour for a private lesson, which is very affordable when it comes to music instruction. The website is byjusfutureschool.com/music. Again, BYJUS futureschool.com/music. Another fusion of the arts with technology is a robot called Artie Max. He's a creative coding robot for kids ages 8 and up. That's Artie Max, ARTIEMAX, by the way, from a company called Educational Insights. And it teaches kids coding in 5 major languages, but then it draws your code into colorful works of art on a piece of paper underneath Artie Max. It's really smart. You put these markers inside of Artie Max that you get in the box, and when you code on a companion device like an iPad, it will reward you by drawing shapes and designs on a piece of paper in different colors. It's really great. I've got some of the printouts right here. It's really putting the A in STEAM learning, right? It's not just STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, but A adds the arts to it. So it builds critical skills, which parents like as well, while encouraging artistic expression at the same time. Artie Max, the coding robot, is only $109 at Amazon. A great gadget for parents. This is one of my favorites in 2021. I've talked about it on this show before. It's from SanDisk, and it's called the iExpand Wireless Charger Sync. This blows me away. It's a wireless charger. You know, it works with any Qi-compatible smartphone, like a new iPhone or an Android device, where you place that phone on top and it wirelessly starts charging it up. But it automatically backs up your photos and videos for you into the charger itself. How smart is that? In full resolution, no less. So it'll capture and store and archive your precious memories just in case something happens to your smartphone. It becomes lost, stolen, or damaged. Different family members can have a different profile. So when they drop their phone on top of the iExpand Wireless Charger Sync, it will know which account to back up the photos to. So great for the entire family. It starts at only $79 for 64 gigs of storage, and then it goes up from there. So you probably want to match one to your smartphone's storage. And speaking of memory, for content creators out there, there's also WD Blue internal memory, solid state drives or SSDs, that's got technology called NVMe. So super fast, great for YouTubers and photographers, videographers. Starts at only $49. A great stocking stuffer there. And finally, stay on top of your finances this holiday season and beyond with an app from Quicken called Simplify. It's an easy to use yet powerful personal finance app. So you first securely connect your credit cards, bank accounts to the app. It is secure. It is Quicken after all. It's got bank level encryption. Then you can see what's coming in and out of your household in real time. So you can set budgets, goals, get notifications. Maybe you're about to reach your budget for the week. You can read watch lists, which are little reports to stay on track. I love the colorful graphs and charts as well to really simplify your finances when you look at it at a glance. And you could do things like, for example, in April, you could say, I want to buy an $800 big TV for my family for Cyber Monday or over Black Friday. So it'll automatically tell you what you should save per month, say $130, and it'll lock it off so you can't spend it. I love that. Of course, it's all adjustable and customizable. And Simplify by Quicken is as low as $299 a month after the free 30-day trial. So there you have it, a look at some gadgets for kids that parents will approve and some apps to keep mom and dad on track of their spending this holiday season as well. Speaking of staying on track, we're going to catch up with ESET to talk Cybersecurity Awareness Month when we return. Stay with us.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Tech It Out. October, if you didn't know, is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Plus, October also kicks off the unofficial start to the holiday shopping season. So who better to chat with about staying safe while shopping online than Tony Anscombe? He's a cybersecurity expert and global spokesperson for ESET, a leading cybersecurity company. Welcome back to the show, Tony. Always good to chat with you.
And always good to be here with you, Mark.
So you're a regular guest on this program, but why don't we just start off with a quick refresher about what ESET is all about?
So ESET are a cybersecurity company. We've been in business around 30 years, and we protect services, we protect businesses, critical infrastructure, and all the way down to consumers. So whether it's your mobile phone, whether it's your laptop, and we look at all the very sophisticated, advanced threats that you might see attacking, for example, diplomats or governments, all the way down to that phishing threat or that spam that ends up in your inbox. that says it's from PayPal.
All right. So it's cybersecurity software that you would install on your devices, and it protects you. And, they say the best technology is invisible. So you shouldn't even really know that ESET is doing its thing other than maybe notifying you that it's done an update. And it is an annual subscription, right? And you shouldn't let that lapse.
Absolutely. And you just highlighted one of the biggest challenges that good cybersecurity companies have. We want to sit in background, be really quiet, and just provide our protection. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the year, when it comes around for renewing that license, the person goes, I wonder what they did for me.
Yeah, right. Because if you're doing your job, you don't know it's there. So it's like insurance, As I said, Tony, October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and it's also the start, unofficially, to the holiday shopping season. Black Friday is just a month away or so. So do we really need to protect ourselves while online shopping?
We certainly do, and it's kind of scary actually that we're already talking about shopping season and the holidays, Mark. This year seems to be disappearing very quickly.
I hear you.
When we're shopping, we need to protect ourselves. There are cyber criminals out there that will grab data in real time. So they will infect websites. They will put up fake websites and offer fake bargains. If you see an ad that just seems too good to be true, it probably is. It's probably fake and fraudulent, especially if it's taking you to a store you've never heard of. And we need to make sure that we protect against that. And a great example, actually, Mark, just recently, the ESET research team found some cyber criminals exploiting IIS, which is a Microsoft web server. And specifically, they had the ability to read transactions on e-commerce. So that just highlights, actually, these cyber criminals are out there, and this stealthy malware could sit on a web server, read off the e-commerce transactions, and hey, the next thing you know is you're getting lots of very strange transactions on your credit card.
All right, so a couple of things here. Is it still relevant to suggest that if you see a little padlock in your web browser or the letters HTTPS as in secure, that it is an encrypted transaction and you should be fine? Is that still fair?
It is reasonably fair. However, a cyber criminal may well put up a phishing page that's also encrypted.
Right, okay.
So just be conscious that actually it's not only the padlock you need to be looking for, but make sure you're on a reputable website.
Sure. And with that in mind, Tony, if you use a secure payment method like a credit card that offers buyer protection, so it's recommended you still look at your statement at the end of the month or what have you, but they should have your back if there is any dispute.
Generally speaking, yes, correct. However, vigilance is good for us. I can tell you now, actually getting a credit card company to sometimes refund those transactions can take you several hours, because you've got to prove the transaction was fraudulent. Mm-hmm. There's lots of communications going backwards and forwards. So save yourself the time and actually be preventative rather than just sitting back and going, well, if it's fraud, it doesn't matter. I'll get the money back.
Yeah. I just feel bad, I guess, because while it's probably safer to stick with a big reputable site, let's say an Amazon, there's been such an increased focus to try to support local businesses, smaller moms and pops stores. And that includes e-commerce stores as well. But it may scare off people from turning to those kinds of sites.
And certainly over the pandemic, a lot of those small businesses have needed to be online businesses. Mm-hmm. So, doing curbside pickup and such like. So they have moved themselves into more of an e-commerce platform. Doesn't mean we shouldn't shop small. We should shop with people we know. I think that's the point, is if you've got your favorite business downtown and it's a small mom and pop shop, if they've got a website, just make sure you're on their website, not somebody that looks like their website. If it's a mom and pop shop 200 miles away and you've never heard of them and there's no reputation online when you look for them, then it should raise a flag.
Yeah, great point, Tony. And while it's called Cybersecurity Awareness Month, ESET is really big on turning awareness into action. What could we do to better protect ourselves? We've already covered a couple of tips here, but are there any other suggestions for our listeners who may not even be that tech savvy, but want to obviously protect their data and their devices?
Well, let's just cap off the shopping one with in there as well. Is the number one thing I'd say while you're shopping is if you're only going to shop with a shop once, create a guest. Don't create an account. Check out through the guest system.
That's good.
Because they don't need to hold on to your data for the long term, and you don't need the account because you're not going to come back. My number one thing I can say to everybody that's going to help secure your online identities is switch on multi-factor authentication on every service that you possibly can. I know it's that little extra step that when you want to log on or when you want to purchase something, you've got to go through that one extra step to make the transaction. But that is the number one thing that you can switch on that is going to thwart a cyber criminal from taking your identity.
And let's just bring everybody up to speed. Multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication is when not only do you need your password to log into an online site, like a shopping site or your bank or cloud provider, but you also need a code, usually a one-time code sent to your mobile device to prove it's really you. So in other words, multi-factor authentication combines something you know, which is your password, with something that you have, like a phone.
Yes, and you may well have seen that recently Microsoft actually moved to this for all their Office 365 accounts. So they actually removed the password altogether and turned and said, we're going to have the ID and we're going to have the two-factor authentication. So passwords may well become a thing of the past as we go forwards as well.
Right. And rely probably more on biometrics technology, like a fingerprint or a iris scan or something like that. We're chatting with Tony Anscombe, cybersecurity expert and global spokesperson for ESET, a leading cybersecurity company that I use on all my devices. What's the best website to download ESET? And I also know that you write a blog at another site. Can you give us both of those URLs?
Yeah, so you can find details about our products on eset.com, and our blog posts and a lot of our research and my blogs are published on welivesecurity.com.
welivesecurity.com, ESET.com to download a trial of ESET to your devices. Tony, always great chatting with you. I always learn something. I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Oh, and you, Mark. And I'd just like to leave you with one thing for Cybersecurity Awareness Month.
Please.
If you think you know about cybersecurity, the one action you could take this month is actually to go off and teach your friends, teach your family.
Love that. Great stuff, Tony. Thank you again.
Thanks, Mark.
We'll be right back with more Tech It Out.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. A virtual event called the Livable Design Summit is taking place later in the month, from October 27th through the 29th, with one of the show's themes about technology for keeping older adults safe and independent. In fact, I just wrote about this topic for AARP. It's often referred to aging in place. And so joining us to discuss the topic is Jeff Gallia. He is president and CEO of Boca Tech and Automation, based in Boca Raton, Florida. Welcome to the show, Jeff. Good to chat with you.
Same here. Thank you very much for having me.
Sure. Now, before we talk about the role home technology plays in keeping older adults safe and connected, as I mentioned in the introduction, please talk to us a bit about your work at Boca Tech.
Yeah, sure. Boca Tech and Automation has been around approximately 20 years. And we've been focused on what I would call luxury residential technologies. You know, back in the day, the stuff that is commonplace now was really the exclusive domain of really high net worth individuals. And as the technology has evolved and more things have, I would say, get commoditized, the role of the systems integrator, which is what we are, is to vet all this technology, install it, and support it over a long period of time. So over a period of 20 years, we've really broadened our scope from anything from what normally people would think about as entertainment-based systems and really gone into other things that find their way into the aging in place domains, things that make your life, more safe, more secure, more convenient. And of course, the entertainment aspect of it.
All right. So things like home theaters, automated lighting, the Lutrons and security systems and all that kind of stuff. And then now offering solutions for those who have maybe parents or grandparents who want to live longer independently at home and how technology can assist those folks too.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. It's called aging in place, a term used for those who want to live longer independently at home rather than going to an assisted living environment. What is new here and what are you focusing on?
It's a lot of the same things that, say we were doing before, but think about it. If I have 80-year-old parents and they're both alive, well, they're sprite, but even raising and lowering the shades when you're 85 years old, can become a hassle. A motorized window covering, which is something, like I said, we've been doing for a long time, having that integrated into a home means that the shades come up when it's light out and they go down when it's dark out, and that can be either automated or with a push button on the wall. Those kinds of conveniences add to the sort of the comfort. If I step back a minute and talk about security, and my concern, as an adult with aging parents, is I want to know they're safe and I want to know that they're comfortable, but I don't want to bug them, right? So one of the things, to give you an example that we've worked on, we've always done video surveillance, cameras on your house to see who's at your front door, a video doorbell, those kinds of things, but also cameras to see your perimeter around the house. I have in my parents' home and other similar age folks a device where they can see their cameras on their television. And we've also looped in cameras of, like in my case, cameras of my driveway and my place of work. So my dad and my mom know when I'm home, when I'm not home, when I'm coming and going, and vice versa. So on the TVs in my house, I see their driveway, their front door. And if I don't see any activity by 7:30 a.m., I know something's wrong. So I get used to their patterns and I can just peek in and feel comfortable.
All right. So with consent, you are suggesting cameras are a great way to keep a virtual eye on your loved ones, but not so much in the home, like putting a camera in your kitchen. You don't find that seniors living alone want anything like that?
I think that's a special case. I mean, we've primarily done that for little ones, babies and so on. And for people that have multiple homes, they want to look at their home when they're not there. And that's really a personal conversation. It would work either way.
Mm-hmm. I know that at AARP, I've written about having regular meals over a video chat, like a Zoom, with family and friends when you can't be there with them physically, maybe during the pandemic or what have you. But that's a bit of a different story than an always on camera, I guess.
Yeah, well, we've done that as well, which is pretty interesting. You can set up a system where you're using your large screen television as your video console. So rather than, mom in one area of the home with a mobile phone and the door shut so she doesn't get a feedback loop with dad who's in another area, they actually were sitting on the couch in the living room. We can see both of them at the same time. They can see us.
Right.
And all during the pandemic, particularly Thanksgiving, it was nice because we were able to loop the entire extended family together and everyone felt they were in each other's home.
Okay, so we've covered cameras, Jeff. What else could someone who has a loved one living alone, an elder family member, for example, what other technology could they rely on at home?
Right. So good question here. And I think there's a whole gamut of things to consider and to discuss before you get into entertainment, which is a big topic as well. So we talked about cameras, and that's more of, them checking on me checking on them, that kind of a thing. But let's talk basic burglary alarm. To feel comfortable that when the doors are locked, if there was a breach, the alarm would go off, or if a smoke detector or carbon monoxide sensor went off, that the proper authorities would be automatically called. So a monitored burglary alarm or security system, I think, would be a primary function. Mm-hmm. And that sort of is very different than cameras. And I would say there's sort of, you would do both or one or the other, but I think you should have that conversation for that purpose. And also those same systems can have the sort of I've fallen down and can't get up type button, a panic button.
Yeah, fall detection, a pendant or a smartwatch or something.
That's right. And it would go through the same monitored UL listed monitoring company. There's many large reputable firms that monitor these. And it's very commonplace in Boca. Pretty much every house we go into, it's already part of the HOA. Mm-hmm. So
I would think a lot of seniors, a lot of seniors in Boca. Hey, we'll continue chatting with Boca Tech when we return. Stick with us.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
We're chatting with Jeff Gallia, President and CEO of Boca Tech and Automation, based in Boca Raton, Florida. We're talking about aging in place, technology to help seniors live longer independently. Just before the break, we were talking about wearables like those pendants, Philips Lifeline, help I've fallen and I can't get up kind of thing. And there are others.
Heck, I would even recommend an Apple Watch and other things like that to keep track of, more personal statistics about a person's body. Not that I sell Apple Watches, but I think that is a very good use of that technology.
Yeah,
but once
sure.
you get past the safety and security aspect, which is the burglary and the cameras, then things like lighting control and motorized window coverings are the next most commonly or most frequently requested items to be able to open and close heavy drapes and shades, or maybe skylights that are up, coverings over skylights that are too high to reach. You think, I'm having a bad day, my joints are aching or whatever, but I want to let the fresh light in, and I want privacy in the evening. With lighting control, there's both a safety and a convenience part of that too. Lighting a pathway, from one end of the house to the other when you're going to get up and use the bathroom in the middle of the night or something along those lines. But also just to let the house light up in the morning and go through its pace. It's very much like we were speaking earlier about the way people think of their automobile. If you think about that example, we have all of these systems already integrated into any modern car. You open the car door, the light comes on. You didn't turn a switch on, right? And then you sit in the car, you close the door, the light stays on until you start the engine, and then the light dims down. It's that kind of idea. So we would put motion sensors in the garage, in the pantry, in the closet. So when they walk in, the light turns on, and after 15 minutes of inactivity, it turns back off again. So that kind of lighting automation, it's very comforting, and it's very convenient. And also there's a safety aspect of it. I think conversion to LED lighting is another thing that we've done a lot of. As you age and you get cataracts or difficult seeing, having good quality light, under counter lights in your kitchen, bathrooms, closets, and so on. We want LED lights. We want them to last for a long time and not have to change bulbs all the time. LEDs fit that role, besides saving a lot of energy to boot.
That too, right? And then before we wrap up, Jeff, we are chatting with Jeff Gallia. He's president and CEO of Boca Tech and Automation. Before we wrap up, so I understand you are going to be speaking at the upcoming conference. Again, it's called the Livable Design Summit, October 27th through the 29th. What will you be speaking about?
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting for us. We have developed a full smart home simulator. So let me describe for a second what I'm talking about there, because so many people don't know what a smart home is. There's so many definitions. It's sort of like people think home theater is a TV and a soundbar. And I look at that and say, no, that's a TV and a soundbar. That's a home theater, that's got the stadium seating, cup holders, big screen.
Sure.
So if you think about the simulator, we have a 15-foot by 8-foot plan view of a modern home, single-story home, and it's got automated shades, lighting, video doorbell. It's got TVs, 4 TVs in it, background music, and so on. And what we are showing in that is the user interface that one would use to control that smart home. And you can see as I press this button, a pathway lit up. If I hit an all off button, all the lights inside turned off. Panic button, the outside lights turned on and began to flash. Those kinds of things that you can simulate real time. So we're going to be talking about that so that people can visualize this on sort of a larger scale than just us waving our hands around and trying to explain things that aren't familiar to people that haven't seen it. And then we're going to talk about a specific use case of a recent home that we did, and then the interview of the 2 homeowners that are in their 80s.
All right. Awesome. Well, good luck at the event. It sounds great. And is there a website that we could leave our listeners with to learn more about Boca Tech and Automation?
Yes. It's just simply www.bocatech.com, TECH. And there's a button on there called Getting Started. And that has a pretty good overview of what a smart home is and the various technologies involved.
All right. Jeff, great to chat with you. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Have a great fall.
Thank you. And same to you.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this week's Tech It Out show. If you are on social media, drop by and say hi. It's Mark Saltzman, Mark with a C, SALTZMAN. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you to ASUS, the title sponsor of this program. ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, and that includes its line line of award-winning laptops and desktops, monitors, smartphones, smartwatches, tablets, and much more. For those in search of incredible, visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. I'm also thrilled that someone from the company was able to join us on the show today, Bruce, to talk about content creators and the laptops designed for them. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. Wishing you a safe and healthy week ahead, and I look forward to catching up with you next weekend for another episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.